intro, and I think we can get started. We practiced this, y'all, so many times, and of course, 1 minute before this webinar started, my Zoom crashed. So just wanted to say we're all human, and we're going to have a great time tonight because the hard part is out of the way. Zoom has crashed for one of us. But my name is Jess Myers. Welcome. We are so glad you're here. We're excited to have you all here today to learn more about Generation Hope, FamilyU, and our Student Parent Fellowship Program. We recognize how busy you are as student parents, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to learn about the application process. We're even more excited that you're interested in applying to be a 2023-2024 Student Parent Fellow. So on this next slide, you'll see the names and faces of the full FamilyU team, to include our CEO and founder, Nicole Lynn Lewis, and our COO, Reginald Grant. They are not here in today's session, but we wanted you to be familiar with their faces as they are an integral part of the FamilyU program. Also not here today, but who is also very important, is Linda Garcia, who is our program coordinator. So the FamilyU staff present today includes all of our senior higher ed impact managers, or often as we're referred to as the FamilyU coaches. I'll let each of us briefly introduce ourselves, and I'll turn it over to Catherine.
Hello, all. Welcome. We are so excited you are here. Like Jess was saying, I am Catherine, and I mostly work with Santa Fe Community College, but we all support everyone here, so it's good for you to be here.
Hey everybody, I'm Jamie Williams. I use they, them, she, her pronouns, and I am also Senior Higher Ed Impact Manager, and I mostly work with the Houston team. But as Catherine said, we're here for all of you.
Thank you. My name is Tracy Watson. You heard my voice before. I'm also Senior Higher Ed Impact Manager here at Generation Hope. I mostly work with the Virginia schools, so VSU, Norfolk State, hey. But again, we're here for all of you, so welcome.
And once again, I'm Jess Myers. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I have the privilege of working directly with San Diego Mesa, Austin Community College, and Madison College. So once again, work with all of you because I am also the point person for the Cohort 2 Fellows Program. So you may have been getting emails from me, or you most likely will be getting emails from me in the future. So excited to work with all of you throughout this process. So now we want to hear from you. We're going to launch a very short poll so that we can see what FamilyU Cohort 2 schools are represented. Let us know what school you're attending by responding to the poll. Okay, it looks like we've got Austin Community College District in the house. Along with this, we got some Madison, Norfolk, and San Diego Mesa College. Okay. Great. So we'll give it maybe 1 more minute, or actually 20 seconds, but we'll just see if anybody else comes in. And if for any reason you are noticing that your institution is not listed, know that that may impact your ability to apply for the fellowship, and please send us a chat so we can work with you privately to work through your eligibility. But we're going to close this poll. It's really great to see so many of our cohort institutions represented. Thank you all for sharing. We are a continental Zoom meeting today. We've got everybody from across the different time zones, so we're so glad that you're here. Okay, so moving on, we are going to just do an agenda and let you all know what to expect in the hour that we're together. And so we'll talk briefly about Generation Hope to include our mission and our story. We'll then talk about what is FamilyU and the Student Parents Fellow role. And then we will talk about the application process so that you know how to successfully apply. And then our Q&A with our fellows who are in Cohort 1 is really intended to be the heart of today's session, because we really want you to hear directly from them about their experiences being a fellow. So that will be the good chunk of today's webinar. A couple housekeeping things we want to share with you so that everybody can fully participate in today's session. As we've already mentioned before, this session is being recorded and will be posted on our website at a later date. Closed captioning is available. We would like for you to use the chat function for tech support and questions. And then there will be a time for questions at the end, but feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box specifically throughout the session. And then in this session, we're keeping all participants muted. If you have additional questions beyond what you can share in the Q&A, please join us for a drop-in session, and we'll share that link later so that you can join for that. And then just know we'll send a follow-up email to all participants with the links and resources we shared in this webinar. And then we probably are all Zoom experts, maybe, or at least online experts with everything that has happened over the past couple of years, but we just wanted to show a slide of a screenshot of what hopefully your screen looks like. We want to highlight the functions at the bottom so you can participate more fully. So there should be 4 icons, the first being chat, so that you can connect with us if you're having tech issues. The second is the raise hand. So generally you would want to use that if you have a question, and if you would like us to unmute you, but please note, as I already mentioned, we're most likely not going to unmute folks because we have a large number of participants. So if you do that and we don't unmute you, we're not ignoring you. The next is the Q&A, and so this is where we'd really love for you to use what we would love for you to use the most, where you can ask your questions related to the fellowship and application process, and where you can also drop your questions for our fellows when the panel is here. And then finally, the CC option allows you to assess closed captioning if you want or need it to fully participate in today's session. So without further ado, we're really getting into the heart of today with turning it over to Tracy so you can learn more about Generation Hope.
Great, thank you, Jess. Before we dive into the FamilyU Student Parent Fellowship experience and the application process, we wanted to ground each of you with the background information about Generation Hope, our entire organization. So our mission, as it's listed on your screen, but I'll read through it, is to ensure all student parents have the opportunities to succeed and experience economic mobility by engaging education and policy partners to drive systemic change and providing direct support to teen parents in college as well as their children through holistic 2-generation programming. The systemic change part of the mission statement is where the FamilyU umbrella comes in, but more on that in just a bit. Next slide. Generation Hope began in March of 2010 when Nicole Lynn Lewis, our CEO, a former teen mother who attended college while raising her infant daughter, decided to put her dream of helping more teen parents beat the odds into motion. Fueled by this passion, the organization was incorporated in 2010 and accepted its first class of 7 scholars in 2011. So to date, we've provided more than $1 million in tuition assistance, supported over 300 teen parents in college, and celebrated nearly 150 degrees earned through our program. And we built relationships with over 20 2-year and 4-year institutions around the DC metro region, as well as other institutions across the country. We're also excited to share that it was recently announced that Generation Hope is expanding. We're opening our new scholar program site down in New Orleans this summer. So that's really exciting. So FamilyU is a comprehensive, customized, evidence-based 2-year capacity building experience designed to improve student parent success at college. In partnership with institutional staff and student parents, colleges and universities participate in our peer learning convenings and our campus-focused coaching sessions. Okay, so what does all that mean? So more plainly, day to day, what this means is our program meets with our program staff, the folks that you see here. We meet with, support, and train college administrators and faculty members who are committed to making their campuses more student parent friendly. Next slide, please. As we mentioned, FamilyU is a cohort-based program. So schools apply to be in our program, and then together as a community, they go through the 2-year experience again together. So cohort 2, which you'll hear us refer to this a lot during the session, cohort 2 has 7 institutions across the US that include San Diego Mesa College, Santa Fe Community College, Madison Area Technical College, Norfolk State University, Austin Community College District, Houston Community College, and Virginia State University. So to apply to the fellowship, you must be an enrolled student at one of these 7 schools. Next slide. So this slide says it right here. A student voice is central to everything we do at Generation Hope. You all are the experts, and we need you to ensure that we get the work right. The student parent fellow role was developed as a critical component of the FamilyU cohort because we believe that student parents must be valued members of the college's FamilyU work and play an integral role in the team's work plan. So pictured on this slide is our current student parent fellows from cohort 1, who you'll hear from later. So you'll see their names in the attendee list, or maybe you'll see them pinned soon, but you're going to see them. You're going to get to hear from them. But now I'm going to turn it over to Jamie.
Thank you so much, Tracy. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, like what is actually the expectation and responsibilities of this role. So first, we want to highlight key responsibilities of the fellowship. You hopefully would have already read through perhaps the position description, gotten a little bit of a feel for it. But if not, please make sure you do before you apply, because there's a lot of good information in there and that'll help strengthen your application. So we're dropping it in the chat right now so you can see that position description. After we select fellows, we will host a virtual meet and greet so everyone can meet each other and go over logistics before the orientation even happens. So it'll be like a pre-orientation orientation, so to speak. And all fellows will participate in the in-person fellows orientation and training, which will take place on Monday, June 12th in Wisconsin. Generation Hope will cover airfare and hotel costs for the fellows that are participating in the orientation. So just know that. Meals will be provided, all those things. And you would stay in Wisconsin until Wednesday, June 14th, because right after the orientation would be a 2-day FamilyU cohort convening. So you'll hear us use that word convening often. We're talking about these 2-day workshops where we're bringing people together from all 7 institutions that Tracy mentioned to build community, to share best practices, to brainstorm and speak their piece with folks that they also know care about this work. So that you'd be in Wisconsin until June 14th. And this particular convening is going to be the culture convening, where we'll be focusing on shifting institutional culture to be more welcoming and supportive of student parents. And then throughout the fellowship, you would participate in 4 total of these types of workshops. So you'd be traveling 4 times. And we really want to convey that traveling is a necessity to be a part of this cohort experience. So we want to make sure that you feel comfortable leaving your little ones in the care of trusted others back home so you can fully be present at these convenings and participate. And outside of the 4 convenings, most of the fellowship work will be done remotely or on your campus. And it can be a mixture. You'll hear from our fellows that most of them are actually working in more of like a hybrid capacity, coming to campus every once in a while, but doing most things remotely. So these responsibilities include participating in monthly coaching sessions with the rest of your institutional team and one of us, your lovely coaches, meeting with your college team members regularly to ensure that the work plan, that's where we kind of like lay out all of the objectives and the goals and the action steps that the institutional team's taking to make movement and to get the goals achieved that we're talking about. So you'll help carrying out the work plan. You'll serve as one of the main liaisons between student parents on your campus and decision-making representatives at your school. And then you'll also be completing an advocacy project, which we'll share more about in this next slide. So each fellow will complete a comprehensive advocacy project related to removing barriers for student parent success at your school. And that is something that you'll complete over the duration of the year. And again, you'll have an opportunity to hear the fellows speak about what their advocacy projects have looked like this year. But as just kind of an example, it could be a kind of a broad range. It could be research projects about student parents. It could be communication campaigns, creating awareness about student parents on your campus. It could be creating a training activity for faculty and staff about the student parent experience, or developing a workshop series to support student parents on your campus. So the possibilities are really endless. We want to kind of let it be an open adventure, but also your coach and your institutional supervisor will work with you very closely to narrow down those options based on your skill sets, your interests, and the institutional needs. So hopefully, as you'll be hearing from our fellows, all of the responsibilities come with significant benefits that we hope will support your personal and professional growth as a student, parent, and an individual. So there's the $20,000 stipend that you receive in monthly installments, and part of this funding is intended to help you with securing quality childcare while you're traveling, but also to make sure that you're being compensated for your expertise and your contribution to the team and the 10 hours a week that you would be performing in this role. You'll also get an institutional team supervisor to support your work. So that's somebody that will be actually at your institution that can help advocate to you if your travel conflicts with any class schedule or anything of that nature. They would be somebody, in addition to us, that would provide you a letter of support, might reach out directly to a faculty member or something of the sort to help you explain your role and then advocate for your absence to be excused. You'll also have one of us as your Generation Hope coach to support you, to provide some mentorship and guidance along the way. You'll also receive customized training and professional development, a cohort of peers committed to advocating for student parents, and paid travel to participate in the convenings throughout the U.S. Because it's so important, we're going to keep repeating that there's their requirement for travel and to be in person for those cohort convenings. So that is a main eligibility aspect to it. And we know that you're also a student who may be working. So we want to acknowledge that travel may require, as we said, missing classes, but also maybe even missing work. So weighing that out before you apply to really think through, does this make the most sense for me? And while we will work with you to communicate, even with employers, we have actually already a template email around missing work and it being an excused absence from work or time away from work, given the role that you're doing. Otherwise, like as you can see on this slide, we have all these fun places that we're going to that we're really excited about. And although we don't know exactly where we will be in October, we're pretty sure that it's going to be in Santa Fe or Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we will continue to update this information as we have more coming our way. And for more on the application process, I am going to pass it to Catherine.
Thank you so much, Jamie. So, and you might hear my little one in the background too. I have a 6-month-old who is making herself known during this information session a little bit. So one of the reasons that we wanted to host this information session for you specifically is really to ensure that you do have all of the information that you need to complete the most successful application. So we're going to focus a little bit on that now. So some key steps that we recommend taking even before you go to that FormStack website to complete the application include reading that full fellowship position description again, and we'll drop the link in the chat one more time. Make sure you really grasp and understand the whole position description before going through the application process. Confirming your eligibility, which we will focus on a little bit more in the next slide as well. Reviewing the required experiences and abilities to make sure that you feel comfortable that you meet these experiences and abilities for the fellowship. So if you've done all those things and you're still feeling ready to apply, then you're ready for some of the next steps, which would include getting your transcript, which does not have to be official. It means you can pull one off of your student information system website. It doesn't have to be in one of those sealed envelopes that make it official. And that way you can upload it when you're actually submitting the application. And then also contacting a professional reference to ask if they're able and willing to serve as a reference for you during the application process. So that person could be a current or a former faculty member, like a professor, a supervisor, or a mentor of yours. It should generally not be a family member or a friend. And if you have any questions about whether the reference that you're thinking about submitting would qualify or not, please feel free to reach out to us and we can help you decide who might be a good reference to use. So once you have all of that, you'd be ready to apply and complete the application via our FormStack site and write your personal essay. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more, like I said, about eligibility. So we want to make sure that you do double and triple check the eligibility requirements before you apply. So they include, again, being a current student parent, which we define as providing regular care to a child or children under the age of 13 in your home while attending college. You need to be currently attending and maintaining active enrollment at a FamilyU institution for the duration of the 2023-2024 academic year. You need to have a GPA of 2.5 or higher. When we say 2.5, we also say that with a little asterisk. If your GPA is lower than a 2.5, we still welcome you to apply, but you must just provide some additional context through a written explanation that you'd submit along with your personal essay. You also need to be able to devote approximately 40 hours a month or 10 hours a week to the student parent fellow work for the entire one-year fellowship. You need to be able to participate in the initial training for all the fellows in June 2023 in Wisconsin, like we talked about a little bit earlier in the session. And then be able to participate in those 4 FamilyU convenings. The dates are all listed on the slide, and participation will require, as Jamie talked about, multi-day travel to various cities throughout the United States. Lastly, you must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 to participate in FamilyU convenings and other activities, or you need to obtain and submit an approved medical or religious exemption from that requirement. So once again, this is all listed in the fellowship position description that we've dropped in the chat. So you can review that on your own time as well. And if you have any questions, like we keep saying, feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to help. We are here to answer your questions. And I will kick it back to Jess to go over the rest of the application process a little bit more in depth.
Great, thank you, Catherine. And I know this is the last section standing between you all and the fellows panel. So I'm going to make sure we get through this as quickly as possible, but with as much information as you need. So the personal essay is my favorite. This is where I think you really get to shine. And we really want to make sure that we get to hear who you are. So please take your time in crafting this important part of the application. So the question is here. You'll respond to the question, why is it important for your institution's leadership to support student parents on campus? In what ways are you prepared to help, advocate, and champion student parents as a fellow? So while this part of the application is important, we do only want you to write a page, but we encourage you to use the full Word document page so that we can, once again, really get to know you and hear from you what your thoughts are on the question. If you need help cutting down your responses, we recommend going to your campus's Writing Center for help. You can also have them help you with proofreading your essay. And those are all things we take into consideration when we're reviewing your application. And then for additional resources, we've shared some examples of essays that you can use to help you better understand the kind of essay we're looking for in regards to content and style. And we're going to drop those links in the chat now, but know that they are also linked in the application. And then as a reminder, if you have less than a 2.5 GPA, you will provide a written explanation following your essay, and that can be on a second page. Catherine already talked a little bit about references, and so we're going to go to that slide. Just a couple more things we wanted to say because we've already gotten some questions about it. As the application says, your reference will provide us with another opportunity to really get to know you better. And the way we want to get to know you better is related to your professional skills. So with that in mind, we want you to consider a reference who can talk about your skills in a work, volunteer, academic setting. This is why we encourage you not to share a family member or a friend as a reference. And while this is not listed, we also encourage you to consider not asking someone who is on the FamilyU team to be your reference. All the team members will have a chance to weigh in on candidates, and some will also be in the interviews. So if they already know you, they'll already be able to share more about you. So expand the way we can get to know you by thinking about another reference who can share more about you with us. Okay, so now you know everything that you need to do, and now you just need to schedule out the time to complete it in time for Monday, March 20th deadline. We will accept applications through 11:59 p.m. based on the time zone in which your school is located. So that's 11:59 either Central Time if you're located in Central Time Zone, Pacific Coast if you're in California, and so forth. So quickly, what happens after you submit your application? When we get your application, the FamilyU team will get busy reviewing all of the applications using a rubric to help us make informed decisions. We will select 5 top applicants, and then we'll share that with your campus's FamilyU team, and they'll help us select 3 candidates to interview. If you are selected for an interview, you will receive an email from us around the first week of April. It will be a quick turnaround time from when we email you to when your interview might be. Interviews will take place between April 11th and 20th of this year. We will offer one position for each FamilyU institution. You will receive notice beginning late April through early May if you were accepted. Please double check your spam so you don't miss important communications from us. If we don't hear back from you within 48 hours, we'll have to move on to our next candidates. So we wanted to, as I mentioned, we are going to move into our fellows panel next. But before we do, we just wanted to provide a few minutes for any specific questions you have about the application process. We already got some great questions in the Q&A, and so definitely open that up and look at how we've answered some of the questions. But please do drop your questions in the chat, and we'll continue to answer them as they come in. Okay, so Catherine, are you think we're ready to move on to the panel? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, are our fellows ready? Perfect. Okay, then I'm turning it over to you all.
Thank you, Jess. So welcome all again. These are our lovely, wonderful, amazing Cohort 1 student parent fellows. So our Cohort 1 institutions, I don't think we mentioned in the information session, but we have 4 Cohort 1 institutions. And I will go ahead and just start out by allowing each of our wonderful fellows to give us a short introduction of themselves. So go ahead and share your name and pronouns, your college, what institution you're with, what your major is, if you're comfortable, your children and what ages they are. I smile because I'm familiar with all of them and they make me smile just thinking about them. And any other relevant information that you want to share, work, volunteer, any other important aspects of your life and identity that you feel is important. And I think we'll go ahead, just because she's first on my screen, I will start with kick it over to Mercy.
Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. My name is Mercy Osei-Shidia. I am a cybersecurity student at Northern Virginia Community College. I have a 19-month-old. His name is Elijah. And a little fun fact about me is I went to Johnson & Wales University. I majored in culinary arts, so I do love to cook. Yes, and that's just a little bit about me. I'll turn this over, or I'll let Catherine turn it over to next.
If you had somebody in mind, you can go ahead and popcorn it to somebody else.
I was going to choose Lorraine.
Hello, my name is Lorraine Oyitubo. I am a human relations major at Trinity University. What else do we say? My child, his name is Caden. He's amazing. He's 8 years old. And other relevant information about me, during the day, I'm a national complex care manager at One Medical. And I really, really enjoy my job. And essentially, I help our patients navigate through our healthcare system because it's wild. So yeah, that's me. And I will popcorn it to Valeria.
Hello, I'm Valeria. I go to George Mason University, but I transferred from Northern Virginia Community College. I got my associates there, and then I switched over to George Mason. I'm a psychology major. So for my job, I work as a psychiatric technician at one of the Johns Hopkins hospitals, which I really enjoy. I have an almost 3-year-old daughter. She's really great. She comes to campus with me a lot. And I'll share a fun fact. I love anything art related. I like to paint. I like ceramics. I like sewing. Really anything under the art umbrella.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Naja Mills. I'm a Montgomery College student majoring in communication studies. I have 3 children, an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 2-year-old. And a little fact, I consider myself a jack of all trades, although I may not be good at all those trades. So thank you.
I love that. I feel the same, Naja. I feel like I'm a jack of all trades, but some trades are better than others. So I love that fun fact. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here and willing to talk with our prospective fellows and share your experience so far. So I guess just starting out, I want to ask each of you, how have you been helping to increase awareness about the student parent population at your various campuses since becoming a fellow? And I will go ahead and I'll start with Valeria.
All right, so the ways that I increase awareness about FamilyU and my student parent fellowship on my campus is I use Blackboard. I don't know if other people do this. It's probably really really random for the people who are receiving it and it doesn't apply to them. But I use Blackboard and I like mass message everybody in my classes and I send it out to everybody in all my classes. I've had like a few people respond from that. And some are not even student parents, which is nice. I bring my child to campus pretty much every week. And I have like, sometimes people will ask me questions about her, and then we like start having conversations, like a conversation starter. I also use our school event platform called Mason 360 to post about upcoming events. And I also hold student parent friendly events and activities on campus where you can bring your kid, and in future ones we'll be having some that will have like childcare available at and things like that.
Wonderful. Yep, that's great. I will pass it over to Lorraine now to answer. How do you increase awareness about the student parent population at Trinity?
Very similar to Valeria, I have been bringing my son to campus a lot. And every time I bring him, I do get one or two people who are like, you can do that? And I'm like, yes, you can actually, you know? So that's been one of the ways that I've been increasing awareness, just literally setting the example. But also another thing that I've been doing that's been helpful a lot is talking to my teachers, talking to my professors about FamilyU. I literally ask them like, hey, have you heard about Generation Hope, FamilyU, and what they're doing with the school? And a lot of them are like, oh, no, I don't know. And I'm able to explain that. And then they're able to pass that word along. And I think it just creates a sense of they're not just students, they also have different identities. Like, oh, wow, yeah, Trinity is working with Generation Hope because we do have student parents. So getting that word out, I think, is also making a lot of the professors a lot more, I wouldn't say like lenient, but just a lot more understanding, able to give more grace to their students when it comes to like late work and things like that. So that's been my fun way of getting the word out.
Absolutely. Yep, that visibility is so crucial. And that's what all four of you have done such an astounding job of so far. Naja, I'll kick it over to you next.
Yes, I feel like I've been given some great opportunities to promote student parent awareness on my campus that I actually wasn't expecting. For example, I got like a rare opportunity to speak to the college president in a very intimate setting about student parent experience and how we can make progress, which was amazing. Having the opportunity to be an officer in the Student Parent Alliance Club, so helping to spread awareness and promote events and make sure other student parents have resources that they need on and off campus. Being an officer in the Student Parent Task Force with several college leaders who initiate the change that we need, such as like Lorraine saying certain things as far as schedule changes, policy changes. Yeah, and most recently in awareness events where several other panelists at the school got a chance to speak about their experiences as student parents. So like every opportunity I get, I take it.
Yep, use that platform well. Love it. Okay, and I'll round it out with Mercy.
So I actually love Val's idea of going on Blackboard and telling all her classmates. I'm definitely going to be stealing that. So another way that I like to tell people about the FamilyU, what we're advocacy project, is letting other students that I know are parents know about what we're trying to do. We had a FamilyU Day at Nova. And so we had like a QR code for the for parents who are interested in the advocacy project that I'm working on. So that was a way I got the word out. And then sometimes I go to Metro Women's Care, which is a resource that helped me out while I was pregnant. And I let them know about FamilyU, and they actually let me know they actually work with Generation Hope. So that was really nice.
Great. Yes. Wonderful. Yep. FamilyU Day was fun. I'm excited about the next one, but we'll keep going. Okay. So moving on to a little bit about the work and what you do on a week-to-week or monthly basis as the student parent fellows for our cohort 1 institutions. Generally, you're expected to work about 10 hours a week, we say, or about 40 hours a month. So how do you typically fill that time each week? And how much work would you say is done in person versus virtually? And I'll have, just for the sake of time, I'll just have Naja and Mercy maybe answer this question. Whoever wants to go first, hop off mute. There you
go. I'll go first. So typically I work on, when I first started the project, I started jotting all my ideas out in between classes or on the weekends when I had time during my spare time. Sometimes I spend more time like during the week when I feel like I haven't had like an ample time to focus on it. So sometimes like for example, there was a time where I stayed up at night and did a student parenting survey for my school. I did it at night because I didn't have any distractions, and it was just quiet. So it was just a great time to do that. I also spend my time with my coach, which is Catherine, twice a week, which is virtual on Google Meets. And I have a mentor which is Dr. McKeithen. And that is, I would say, like once a month. And then we have our in-person convenings. I believe it's been spread about every 3 months or so. And that's in person. So you definitely stay busy. Not too busy where you can't handle it, but it's very active.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mercy. And you know what? I spoke too soon. I think I'm actually going to kick it to Valeria, if that's okay with you, Valeria, to have you handle this one. I'll read it one more time. Fellows are expected to work 10 hours a week. So how do you typically fill that time each week, and how much work do you do in person versus virtual?
So when I first started the fellowship, I was actually pleasantly surprised that it's not like a in-person 10 hours a week, because I was like a little bit worried about how I would be able to juggle that with everything going on. But they're extremely mindful of the fact that you are a student parent and that's why you're there. So they will constantly ask you, hey, do we need to do virtual this week instead of in person? Or like, they're very flexible with the schedule. So it is 10 hours, which can be a lot on top of like your 40-hour work week or your homework and everything. However, they make it work for you. And they also let you have a lot of autonomy over your schedule. So like I have meetings with Shama, I have meetings with Jamie about once a month, sometimes every other week. My meetings with Shama are every week, and we ever since classes started this semester, we do it in person every week. But if my kid is sick or I just didn't come into campus that day or something, we do virtual. And I spend the rest of my time doing like lesson planning for my student parent support groups, because I have like specific activities I want to do in them, or making flyers and things like that for upcoming events, or in general, just trying to like throw fish lines out there to get people to talk about being student parents or come to our things. So everything is very much like at your own pace. You kind of like find ways to fill in those 10 hours, and it's pretty easy to do because there's a lot of options and things to do, and you also have a lot of support. So it's not like you're doing a whole bunch of things with nobody there to help you figure out how to do them. And also, again, they're very flexible about it. So you don't have to spend literally 10 hours on campus every week with them in addition to your classes and work and everything. Because again, they're very mindful of the fact that we are student parents. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely want to emphasize that throughout this whole fellowship, it's a reason there's a fellowship and not, just another job posting. We love to see the growth and love to be there and support wherever we can, because we know that student voice is so important. So it's so good to hear you say that too, Valeria and Mercy. Thank you. So we touched a little bit about the earlier in the information session about advocacy projects. I want to go ahead and ask Lorraine and Naja to tell us a little bit more about your specific advocacy projects at your schools and why you came to select that project. I'll start.
Yeah. I'll go. So I initially enrolled in Trinity because I originally signed up in Trinity 2010, and then I had to leave due to some family circumstances, and then I rejoined. But it was always always an institution that felt very comfortable for me. And then as a parent, it just almost wasn't a second guess. I just was like, yeah, I'm coming back here. So then when I heard about the FamilyU and I looked around and I'm like, I know for a fact that I have so many parents in my class and we don't have any kind of club, we don't have any kind of events or anything catered to us and how we're navigating through school, checking in on us. So that's when I was like, period, I'm making a club and we're going to be able to use this space to chat about our children, chat about our academics. What do you need help in? What resources do you need to make sure that you're able to navigate school in a way that life is not interfering with any of that? Let's be a hub for that. So that's really what stemmed my advocacy project. So yeah, I created the Student Parent Club, what we're called the Student Parent Alliance. And it's been amazing.
Love it. I love that. All right, and Naja, you want to tell us a little bit about your advocacy project at Montgomery College?
Yes, so my advocacy project the idea initially started of spring of last year. I had a chance to join a club at Montgomery College regarding equity and inclusion, and I didn't know anything about that. So I thought I would join to become more socially aware, really as a citizen, as a student, not knowing that I would have the opportunity to idealize an advocacy project. It's with Generation Hope and my fellowship role that I had the opportunity to now put it into action. And so with the roundtable talk with the president at my school, self-care, mental health was a big topic. And sure, it's a taboo topic, sensitive, but necessary. And so that's something that a lot of student parents needed. They needed resources for mental health and self-care. And so the idea to partner up with a care coach, certified care coach, and create an event to inform our students and the other community members of tips to take care of themselves and recognize that parenthood is not the only title that they have to wear. And so I'm looking forward to getting that show on the road.
Awesome. Yes, thank you both. And in the interest of time, I don't know if we have time for a long answer, but I at least Mercy and Valeria, because your advocacy projects are amazing too. I just want you to come off mute real quick to let us know what grand scheme, what your advocacy projects are at each of your schools. And we can start with Valeria or Mercy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I am just like Lorraine. I'm also doing a Student Parent Alliance. It's my goal, or the school I'll say Nova's goal is to also have a place where parenting students have a voice, that they're heard, and they basically have like a college experience, just like a regular student would have. As in higher institutions. So that's essentially what the goal is.
Yeah, awesome. Great.
So my advocacy project is a monthly student parent support group that focuses on expressive and coping skills development for student parents and their children. So it's pretty similar to the other ones, except I'm a psych major, like I said before, and I'm very passionate about the entire concept of art therapy. So I wanted to implement those similar expressive and coping skills and give student parents opportunity to develop those and know that they exist overall so that they can take them home and practice them themselves or with their children.
Great, thank you all. We are so excited to see as these advocacy projects are unfolding. You're doing amazing work. So shifting gears a little bit, let's say I can toss this to Valeria and Mercy. What have you appreciated most about your fellowship so far?
Okay, I'll go first. Everything, literally everything. I love the genuine relationships and the deep sense of community like this. I know that there's a lot of companies out there that say like, oh, we're family, this, and that. And I think that this is the only company or organization that they say that and you actually genuinely feel it. Like my direct mentor that I talk to every week literally tells me, you better talk to me after this. Like, I want to be at your daughter's graduation. I want to be there. Like, I invited her to my kid's birthday party in the summer, like after the fellowship is over, because I love her. And I feel like every interaction I've had is genuine. And also everybody is, all the different roles, everybody talks to you like you're at the same level. Because when I first started the fellowship, I had really severe imposter syndrome. And I was like sitting at these tables and having this like having people ask me my input and everything is like, feels so weird. It feels like I'm like role playing, like I shouldn't be here. And over time, the way that they interact with us and everything made me feel like I belong and like I do have something of value to say because they constantly value everything I have to say. So I think just overall, like their people skills are immaculate and overall across the board, like makes you like more confident and feel like they want because the whole purpose is to create like more community within our campuses, and they do that. They first start with creating a community amongst us together so that we can like spread that even further, and they do really good at it. So I really appreciate that.
You all are gonna make me tear up here already. So I kick it to Mercy before I get too emotional about this. Go ahead, Mercy.
I agree with everything Val said, because you guys are really supportive. Everybody on the team that I've came into contact with are very supportive. They want to know how you're doing. They really genuinely care. They're not going to just ask you how you're doing and then to say, okay, they really want to know how you're doing. From the coaches to my Nova team to my mentor, like everybody genuinely cares. They want to know how you're doing, just not only you as a parent, but you as a person. And I really, like Val said, it feels like a family. You will have so much fun if you're part of our team. And even the ladies, Val, Naya, and Lorraine, when we come together, we feel like we're sisters, and it just feels so natural. So I really hope that you guys want to join this and really feel included and feel like a community when you guys start on your journey in your advocacy projects.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. Thank you all for being here and being so vulnerable. I just wanted to end with one quick question, then we'll maybe take one or two because we're watching time. Naja and Lorraine, if you just want to end with what advice you would have for somebody who is interested in applying to this fellowship position, what would you say to them?
My advice would be really, really think about your time. We as parents, we do a lot. We're doing a lot, especially if you are a single parent, right? And while Generation Hope is so accommodating, I mean, to the point where I was like, I might quit my job and come work for you guys because I love working with you guys so much. But they're so accommodating. We also have to remember that this is work. This is work that we're doing. You know, you're going to be working with your institution team. You're going to be working with the Generation Hope team. Most of us have work outside of that. Really think about your time management. This is a commitment, you know, and it's not, while it's not something where you have to like constantly be on campus or anything like that, there's no strict rules around it. You yourself have to create strict rules around your boundaries and how you're managing your time. So really think about it, because they're going to also hold you accountable. They want to see the work getting done. We want to see the changes happening in the institution. So really think about your time. Can you commit to this? Because it's a commitment. I know for me, once we finish in July, they've got me hooked. Student parent work is part of my passion now, you know? So I know it's not going to end from there. And it's not going to feel good, honestly, for you to just end it after being so involved with FamilyU and the Generation Hope team. So yeah, just really think about your commitment, your time, and how you can manage all of this while you're still living your life.
I'll say just a few quick things to make sure you have genuine interest in this work. You are the expert being the student parent, and you're having leadership. These might be opportunities to speak with people that you would normally not get the chance to. This is the rare opportunity to speak about policy, advocacy, and reform. You don't have to be an expert in those areas, but your expertise is going to be wanted, and it may be uncomfortable at times. So you want to make sure you're in a space to share those experiences, good and bad. They're going to ask. I would say to understand that you're going to be receiving a lot of support. So again, if that's something new and uncomfortable, just be prepared to be in that uncomfortable space, and know that Generation Hope, FamilyU, your institutional team, your fellows, you have endless support outside of your own personal life. And it's something to really hold on to and just take advantage of the experience. Like our fellowship is ending and we just started, it feels like. But like Lorraine said, this is embedded. We get to now take this wherever we go and just see the progress. So have fun and like just make sure you really are interested in doing this work. You're gonna literally change lives.
Amazing advice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know I'm not ready for this to end, but I'm excited to welcome new fellows too. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave this. I want to be mindful of time. I think I said that at least 3 times in the last 15 minutes. It's my catchphrase apparently tonight. We have one really great question that came in that I just want to put to you. So if something comes to your mind when I ask and you want to come off mute, go ahead. It is, what was one of the most inspiring moments that you had during your fellowship? I think we can only have time for one person to answer. So whoever comes to you first, hop off.
I got one. So in creating the Student Parent Alliance, I was kind of like, all right, let's get it done. And then I was like, oh my God, who's gonna work with me? You know, I'm like, I know that I can't do this by myself. You know, I'm gonna need other parents involved. And I literally was just asking around in my classes, asking some of the faculty who would be interested. Just out of the word of mouth, I found our advisor, Jill, who's amazing. I found my leadership team, and get this, my leadership team, their names are Beyonce and Shaka. And so I'm literally working with superstars. And I found them, and I mean, we work so well together, it almost doesn't feel real. It feels like, okay, someone's playing a prank, because we just pulled this out of nowhere. But I think the most inspirational moment we had is when we came together and we started planning our first event, which will be April 1st. And we're just so excited about finally getting things off the ground and getting all the permissions from our institutional leads, and everything's a go. So that was the moment of being like, wow, after all of this, we have finally made the space to have an event and get the word out even more about how Trinity is just, it's here. We're here for the parents, period. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. Yes, I'm excited for that April 1st event. Thank you to all 4 of you for being so generous with your time. You know, we mentioned it, but we know how critical your time is. So we're so appreciative for you to be here and to share your experiences so far. We do not want this fellowship to end. We're so excited for the things that you're doing. So I really appreciate you for being so here and answering so honestly. Yes, Beth, go ahead.
I just want to say one last thing. I just want to say, in terms of the application process and everything, and in general, make it personal. Like, make it personal, like how Naja said, be prepared, make sure you're in a space to receive things, because this whole entire thing is a passion project for pretty much everybody involved, regardless of if you're being paid or not. It's a passion project for all of us. So everyone is passionate, as Naja said, make sure you're passionate. So you have to be willing and able to make it personal. So
Definitely.
Think of that in your essay as well.
Very good advice. Yep, absolutely. This is like our founder and CEO, Nicole, says often, this is hard work. So it goes a long way to be passionate and show that in your application. So thank you. That's great. Great add-on, Val. I will toss it back, because we're at 6 o'clock, to Jess to wrap us up. Thank you again to the fellows. We really appreciate you and everything you're doing.
Yes, thank you, Catherine, for leading this amazing panel. Thank you to our fellows for sharing of your time and your expertise and your wisdom tonight with all of our potentially new fellows. So just a couple of things that we want to share with you all as we wrap up. If you still have questions, we're offering drop-in office hours via Zoom throughout the application period. If you have a question, you can drop in and ask us. You can also email us at FamilyU@generationhope.org if you have other questions, and we'll drop that in the chat as well. I just also had included the FamilyU Cohort 2 cohort link so that you can learn more information about our application, the Zoom hours. We'll also have this recorded, this session will be recorded and put on the website. So if you are like, oh no, it was at 5 p.m., but you're thinking it was 5 p.m. Central Time and not Eastern Time, this whole session has been recorded and we will have it up on our website. So if you missed any parts of it, you can watch it later. But definitely check in the drop-in hours. You can just come in even for like 2 minutes to ask a quick question, and then you can leave, but one of us will be online for the full hour. And then finally, we just want to make sure that you can stay in touch. Tonight this is it for the info session and panel. And so once again, we just thank our current fellows for giving of their time. And we want you to know whether or not you're selected to be a fellow. We hope we have a chance to meet you throughout the FamilyU experience at your campus. All of us on the FamilyU team will be coming out for campus visits next year. We know that several of your teams, your institutions are looking at creating student-parent affinity groups or events. And so we hope that you'll attend those and be on the lookout for ways that you can get involved with FamilyU on your campus. We also encourage you to stay in touch with Generation Hope. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and we'll share that contact information in the follow-up email. Our follow-up email will include all the links that we sent today in the chats, and if there was any outstanding questions that we didn't get a chance to answer and we can put in the follow-up email, we will be certain to do that. So just one final reminder that the application is due on March 20th at 11:59 p.m. your local time zone. So that is it from us. Thank you again, and we hope that you all have a great late afternoon, evening.